Hello everyone, I am Sharpedo43 once again, bringing you all another Wi-Fi battle. Not just any Wi-Fi battle though. This is actually going to be week 1 of a new draft league that I'm doing. It's called the Talent Squad League, and, you know, my opponent is going to be one of the coaches from that draft league, obviously. But, I was going to make it a formal announcement on this new draft league that I was going to participate in, but since it's not like a content required draft league, I figured, nah, because then how on earth am I going to put my own spin on the announcement video? I figured, nah. And plus, not to mention, this league is also starting in the Pokemon Sun and Moon games, and right now we're already in Ultra Sun and Moon territory, so it's like, why even? Like, not to mention, I don't have all the time in the world, and as a result, it's just like, I can't do it, so, rip that, and we're just gonna get straight into the battles basically. So no formal announcement, just know that I'm in another draft league, and it's called the Talent Squad League, and it's a draft league that was inspired by Mr. Talent. Like, I didn't create it, but somebody else did. So one of the followers of Mr. Talent did, and I was more motivated to post the battles because of the fact that someone was actually going to make logos, which is actually interesting for every coach basically, including the main league logo, which is once again very interesting because that's something that not even the Nacho Gold Digger League was able to do. So it's like, it's kind of interesting to see someone actually now willing to do logos for the coaches and the league. So as a result, you're going to be seeing them in the thumbnails for my videos because someone was actually kind enough to actually make me thumbnails in the video. I'm personally not very keen on pointing their names out in the video, just because, I don't know, I feel like I'm committing a sin of sorts. So instead of just saying their names out loud, I'll just plug their channels or their Twitter handles, whatever, in the description below if I can find them. So, but anyways, with all that aside, this is going to be week 1 of the new draft league that I'm performing in, that is called the Talent Squad League, and my first opponent is going to be NiceGuyBernie and the Savannah Sableye. This is the teams that we brought. I was expecting, from looking at his draft, I was expecting the Tyranitar Excadrill core that he had on his list, because that thing, sure, I have Mega Lopunny, which can hit them both hard, but remember that if Tyranitar gets a Sandstorm up first, and then Excadrill comes in, it'll just start to run through my entire team, because not a whole lot switches into it. And not to mention, the Excadrill has pretty decent coverage for everything on my team. It hits relatively hard, the Quagsire, and not to mention, he can easily just switch into something that can take hits better, like Reuniclus or something. And that Reuniclus can have Magic Guard, so like Quagsire wouldn't be able to do anything. Like, he has answers for my teams, and my team, as you can see, is not very powerful. It's basically meant to be kind of tactful, because honestly, his team is actually very ideal compared to mine's. Like his draft, because the way we drafted our Mons was each Mon gets 7 random picks, and then 5 of them are going to be manually picked. So as a result, I only had 7 random Mons to work with. So as a result, this is what I got, and this is what I'm going to be using against this guy's team, who brought not what I expected, honestly. He brought a bunch of different things that I wasn't expecting whatsoever. He did not bring the T-Tar Excadrill core, which was what I was expecting mostly, because that offensive core is actually really powerful. So, and since my team is kind of lacking in defense in a way, it's kind of hard for me to actually get around it, so I'm surprised he didn't bring it, but good. It's always good for me. Anyways, I think I've rambled way too much. I think it's past 3 minutes now. Let's just get into the battle. NiceGuyBernie, coach of the Savannah Sableye. We already mentioned this, but we're going to do it again. And this is him. I think he's going to be the one leading with mine, which is the Pelipper. And I'm like, oh, that's fine, because I think I just let off with Electabuzz, because looking at his team, he also has no Volt Switch immunity. Well, actually, he does have Seismitoad, but, I mean, how likely is he going to bring that in? Not to mention, this Electabuzz is not even Choice Scarf, so if he does happen to switch into Seismitoad, I do have Hidden Power Grass for it, so yeah. What I'm going to do is obviously go for the Volt Switch. He's going to switch out like I anticipated, into what exactly was what I wasn't sure, but he goes into Ferrothorn, which is fine with me, because I'm just going to go for the Volt Switch. I lose nothing by going for it, because, again, not a whole lot of switch-ins, and I do have Hidden Power Grass for the Seismitoad if he does bring that in. So yeah, right now, right out of the gate, I get some switch initiative, which is excellent. And I'm going to go straight into Arcanine to get the Intimidate off on this powerful hitting Ferrothorn, that even while invested in defense is actually very powerful with Power Whip and Gyro Ball. So yeah, and I know I'm in the rain right now, but I mean, my Arcanine in this match is actually Choice Banded, so a Crunch is actually going to do quite an amount to anything he switches out. He does switch out the Ferrothorn despite being in the rain, because even then, from a Choice Banded Arcanine, it can still do a lot. So here, he's going to go into Seismitoad, as I went for Crunch, predicting him to switch out into what exactly, I wasn't sure, but it was Seismitoad. Here I wanted to Sableye, and here he's gonna actually go into for the Groundium Z, I believe. Yeah, Groundium Z. What's it called? Tectonic Rage. There we go. He's actually gonna go for Tectonic Rage on my switch into the Sableye. Why exactly? I'm not really sure, because I mean, I don't know. But fun fact, I forgot to mention this too. Every one of us in the league are gonna be locked into one Z move, so we cannot use for all the Z moves in the world for every preparation for every coach and against everyone else. You know what I mean. You can't, like, you can only have one Z crystal. You can't have more than one. So yeah. Anyways, here he switches out because he used up his Z crystal, and that's actually excellent for me. And I'm just gonna go for Baton Pass because yeah, this draft league is actually crazily enough allowing Baton Pass in this, which is actually kind of scary. Not gonna lie. But I usually use pivot Baton Pass for pivoting most of the time, so I'm Gucci. Here I pivot into Arcanine again as he goes back into Ferrothorn. I'm like, that's fine. Here he actually stays in this time. I guess he was predicting me to actually try to double on him again, or try to predict him to switch out again, which is understandable. I mean, I always do that myself, and I end up falling for the bait basically, which is crazy. Here I am gonna take out this Ferrothorn though, which is excellent because, and I knew it would KO because honestly, even though it's in the rain, my Arcanine still Choice Banded, and Ferrothorn is X4 weak to fire, so it's like it kind of cancels out in a way. Here he goes into I think Seismitoad, and then he doubles into Rotom Fan because I don't know. Oh yeah, because he expected me to switch into Decidueye right away, which is obviously not a bad play. In fact, he actually did predict me to switch into Decidueye, and I'm just gonna switch out obviously because I do not want to stay in on this. I know he can go for Thunderbolt, but I just need to actually not get Air Slash, because Air Slash actually will hurt Decidueye if not straight up KO it if this Rotom is actually offensive. So yeah, he does go for Air Slash, and I think here I tried to Volt Switch once again just to see if he's actually Scarfed or not, and he's gonna just switch out and go straight into the Seismitoad, and I'm just gonna go for Volt Switch, which doesn't work. But at this point, this is exactly what I was anticipating, that he eventually would send in this thing. So as a result, my Electabuzz is not Choice Scarf, and as you guys already saw, it was Life Orb, so I can switch out my moves in case he does something like this, and I don't have to worry about being choice locked into anything. So yeah, and I carried Hidden Power Grass because this Seismitoad was one of the mons I was afraid he'd have, because it can carry Stealth Rocks and whatnot. So here he's gonna go into Wiz now, which is the Rotom Fan. He's gonna go for Shadow Ball, which is like, once again with these Shadow Balls on Pokemon that are not Rotom, like the regular Rotom. And I'm just gonna go for Volt Switch. I thankfully lived the Shadow Ball, so I can go for a free Volt Switch here. And now I'm just going to go into Weavile because I got Ice Shard for this thing. But I definitely was confident he wouldn't want to stay in, because seeing how it outsped my Electabuzz, clearly it says it's Choice Scarf. So I'm just gonna go straight for a Swords Dance here in case he does not go into Metagross, but he does go into Metagross, so as a result I am going to be forced to switch out because I do not want to risk this thing taking a Bullet Punch. I know this thing can set up like Home Claws or something, or even Agility, but like I said, I just don't want to risk getting Bullet Punched. I think I do have fair switch-ins to this Metagross, as long as it doesn't have Grass Knot, and I go into Quagsire as a result. He goes for Bullet Punch right here, which is what I was afraid he'd go for. That's why I decided to switch out. Unfortunately, this is like my only switch into Metagross. This is why I was afraid of his T-Tar or Exeggutor Core, because this is like literally the only thing I have to take hits, honestly. I mean, I can run defensive Arcanine, but even that cannot deal with Stone Edges and Earthquakes from T-Tar and Exeggutor respectively, you know. Now here he's going to switch out fearing the Earthquake, and I do predict him to switch out, and he's going to go into Reuniclus, which is like, I got the Toxic off, but I was thinking, this thing has Magikarp probably, so as a result, it's probably not going to do anything. But surprisingly, it actually isn't Magikarp, so I was like, oh, this is actually really, really good for me then, because, I mean, now as a result, I can just simply wall this thing out. In fact, here I decided to go into the Decidueye just to set up a nasty plot and either KO it with Shadow Ball if he tries to set up Calm Minds or something, or just try to, I don't know, take it out maybe, because that would actually be really, really ideal at this point. Worst case scenario is that if he switches out, maybe I can just Baton Pass into something before I get like withered down by this Toxic, of course. But I felt like going for Nasty Plot would be ideal just because I do have Shadow Ball on this, what's it called, Decidueye. Reason why I had it with Nasty Plot was in case I wanted to Baton Pass the +2 to like Sylveon or something. Well, I think was Choice Specs, so that actually would work wonders for me. Here he's gonna, yeah, like I said, I'm going for the Nasty Plot as usual. He's going to go for Psychic. I was actually kind of afraid he'd go for Shadow Ball, but thankfully he didn't carry it here. So I'm just going to be free to go for a Shadow Ball of my own, basically. Or should I say my own Shadow Ball, because he didn't have Shadow Ball, obviously. But, yeah. Here he's gonna get leftovers, and then he's gonna get poison. Yeah, the usual slow-mo shit. Because we're both poison, we're both gonna take damage from poison, which is really, really annoying, but what are we gonna do about it? And then here, yeah, like I said, Shadow Ball time. About time after like 7 minutes, not really, but you know what I mean. Here goes the Reuniclus, which is excellent. I actually didn't want to deal with this Reuniclus, honestly, because this thing is actually kind of scary if it starts to set up, because I mean, I don't really have much for my team that can actually just set up to +6 or anything like that. But yeah, here my Decidueye is basically getting weakened at this point thanks to the fact that he got Toxic and got hit with a Psychic really, really hard. So here what he's going to do is go into this Metagross and just go straight for the Bullet Punch. I switch out though because I do not want to lose Decidueye just yet. So I'm just going to go straight into Quag again. Like, I can save that thing for Death Fodder. And here he's going to go for Bullet Punch again, so I was like, okay, good, because I did make the right call then. And here I'm just going to go for Earthquakes. Nothing but Earthquakes. If he switches into the Pelipper, I'm perfectly fine, because honestly, I lose nothing by going for it. I can go for Toxic on the Pelipper anyway, so... He's actually going to stay in himself and actually run Toxic himself on the Metagross. I was like, what the... Who runs Toxic on Metagross? Either way, I'm just going to go for the Earthquake, because that's exactly what I was intending to do in the first place, so... And looking at the damage, it looks like it's going to be maybe a 3-hit KO, so I was like, okay, let's just go for another one, and if I lose Quag by some random ass reason, let's just get it over with. But he actually has weakness policy on this thing, so I was like, thank goodness my Quagsire is actually unaware, because if it was like Water Absorb or something, this thing would have probably gotten away with getting, destroying my entire ass team. But since I'm unaware, I just have to hope this Zen Headbutt that he goes for right here does not cause me to flinch. He actually does get the first flinch, which is actually kind of annoying, but as long as I don't get flinched twice in a row, I should be fine to at least get a little bit more damage before this thing goes completely down. And then I could just Revenge Kill it with anything on my team. He's going to go for another Zen Headbutt, as you can see right here. And it does not flinch, thankfully. And now I'm just going to get the Earthquake off. And surprisingly, this is actually going to KO it. So this probably was a high damage roll here. Because you guys saw that thing was at green when I did Earthquake the first time. So I thought it was going to be a 3-hit KO, but I guess not. It was actually a 2-hit KO, which is actually kind of interesting. So here, this Quag is now completely weakened because it flinched once, it got Poison stalled in the flinch turn, and now is taking another turn of Poison. So as a result, this Quag is now dead, basically. So here he's going to send out this Pelipper again, and I'm like, okay, that's fine, because at this point, this Quag did what it needed to do, was get rid of that Metagross, because that Metagross is actually kind of scary if it gets going. So I was like, okay, that's good. He's going to go for the Hurricane, which will not miss because of the, what's it called, Rain. And here I'm just going to go into Electabuzz. If he switches into Rotom, that's fine. I'm just going to go for the Thunderbolt, though, because I lose nothing by going for it. Actually, had he preserved this thing, he could have actually still had Pelipper, but I still had other things for it anyway, so I was Gucci there. He just lets this thing die, and I'm going to die to Life Orb, which is fine. I lose Electabuzz, but not without it getting a KO, which is actually perfect. I'm going to send in Sylveon now, because this is the only Mon that hasn't gotten to do anything in the battle, so I was like, perfect, let's send this thing out. And his last Mon is Rotom, which can definitely take hits, which Sylveon can definitely take hits from, is what I was trying to say. And he's just going to go for Thunderbolt, not even try to Air Slash Fudge me, which is, it's alright. And I'm just going to go for Hyper Voice and take out the Rotom fan, which is pretty fine, okay. And that's going to be the whole game. So, good game to NiceGuyBernie. That's going to be week 1 of the Talent Squad League. Sylmar Sylveons are actually going to win this one. So, we're it's going to win this one, I think 4-0. Yeah, 4-0. And now we're in 1-0. So, we started the league pretty well, thankfully. Like, for me, what I was hoping for was just that I get the first week win. I didn't sound right there, didn't I? But oh well. What I meant to say was that I was glad to at least have the first week with a victory, basically. Start the league with a victory, and then from there, if I lose matches on the way, then that's fine. Like, I usually like, it's because I'm all about giving the good first impressions, basically. So yeah, anyways, thank you all for watching that battle. This was week 1 of the Talent Squad League once again, and once again, thank you all for watching. Feel free to leave your thoughts below in the comments if you guys want to, and I'll catch you guys for maybe week 2 or something. So yeah, catch you guys later.